So we have some, there's actually a plethora of enumeration tools. Again, most of these are old, so they're going to work with some of the older protocols, but you have oputils, and with its integrated set of tools, helps network engineers to monitor, diagnose, and troubleshoot their IT resources. So engineers tool set, this is a different one. Keep in mind that a lot of people won't use this stuff, but there are still quite a few that do. And in the newer stuff, it's all password encrypted, and the communications are actually encrypted. In SNMP 1, none of that was around. There was no hardened usernames and passwords. The system was just incredibly wide open. So if you can find an old printer or something, this may still work. And if you did during a pen test, that would absolutely be a find. So here's a plethora of enumeration tools. Net SNMP, Spiceworks, again, that's familiar. NS Auditor, Network Security Auditor, SN Scan, and then the SNMP scanner. So those are some that you may see some test questions about. So now we're going to get into LDAP, the local directory, lightweight directory access protocol, for enumerating that. So how does this work? So LDAP enumeration. Lightweight directory access protocol is an internet protocol for accessing distributed directory services. Directory services may provide any organized set of records, often in a hierarchical, I can't say that today, and logical structure, such as a corporate email directory. A client starts an LDAP session by connecting to a directory system agent, or a DSA, on TCP 389 and sends an operation request to the DSA, the directory system agent. Information is transmitted between the client and the server using basic encoding rules, or BER, basic encoding rules, and the attacker queries the LDAP service to gather information such as valid usernames, addresses, departmental details, etc., that can be further used to perform attacks, whatever's stored in there. So good luck doing this. The systems are hardened and detection is in place for this kind of thing, but you can try it. Certainly if they don't detect it, that would be a find. Softera LDAP Administrator is an LDAP enumeration tool. Here's a plethora of LDAP enumeration tools. Let's see if any of them ring any bells here. The LDAP admin tool. That's the only one that sounds familiar. Okay, NTP enumeration. NTP, Network Time Protocol, is designed to synchronize clocks of networked computers. Time is incredibly important. If I can skew your time, man, are you going to have a hard time figuring out anything that I did, when or where. You're going to be just destroyed. It'll wreck an incident response if I can modify the NTP. So this is incredibly important to keep everything synced up. Attacker queries NTP server to gather, we're looking at the little yellow box over to the right. Attacker queries NTP server to gather valuable information such as a list of hosts connected to NTP servers, client IP addresses in a network, their system names and OSs. Internal IPs can also be obtained if NTP servers in the DMZ. So if the NTP server's out in the DMZ and they can query this thing, they can get a lot of information because everyone should be synced up, right? This is very important to properly protect your NTP server. Herein lies the lesson, right? It uses UDP port 123 as the primary means of communication. UDP port 123. I guarantee you will see that on the test. You will be asked about it anyway. NTP can maintain time within 10 milliseconds, or 1/100th of a second, over the public internet. It can achieve accuracies of 200 microseconds or better in local area networks under ideal conditions. NTP enumeration commands. We have NTP trace, which traces a chain of NTP servers back to the primary source. NTP DC monitors operations of the NTP daemon. And then we have NTP-Q, monitors the NTP daemon operations and determines performance. So you may want to be familiar with this. It hasn't been asked on previous tests. Maybe one or two questions, but I have a feeling that you're going to see more on the newer tests because this is becoming more and more critically important. So I would study these and make sure you know what they do and play around with them on your networks and see how that works. For two reasons. One, you're going to see it on the test, but two, you really need to know how this stuff works, right? So make sure you play around with this one a little bit. NTP trace, NTP DC, and NTP Q. So some NTP enumeration tools. NTP server scanner, Nmap, Nmap again, Wireshark. Wireshark is a protocol analyzer. It is not a packet sniffer. It comes packaged with a packet sniffer. You will see a test question about that, and we'll be talking about that more later on, but I thought I'd go ahead and hit you with that. Wireshark is a protocol analyzer. It is not a packet sniffer. It is a protocol analyzer. And it's only good for the protocols that it knows about. And the packet sniffers are coupled with it. They come, when you download it, they'll ask you some questions about that. Which version of Windows are you using? So you're going to get TCP dump or WinDump, right? So TCP dump would be on Linux, and then WinDump if you're in Windows. So you get to kind of pick which packet capturing tool you want to be packaged with it. So when you install it, you may not realize that it's two things you're installing.